Hello, friends and viewers. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Brandon.
And this is Brandanda Reviews.
It sure is, Miranda.
If you're not familiar with what we do here, we usually sing the intro.
We've done that once.
But anyway, what we do is we take an album that we know about and we talk about what we liked on it, what we didn't like on it, or what we think they could do better in our expertise knowledge, our favorite tracks off the album, and an overall review of the album. I know what I'm doing here. Today we are doing the best album that was ever created, Forget and Not Slow Down by Relient K. It is their 6th album. I know this. 5th album, okay? And it is the best album ever. It was written and recorded in a cabin. I don't know if it was written in a cabin. It was recorded in a cabin. And I just learned that it debuted on number 6 on the Billboard 200. So, you know what? It's great. It should have been number 1, but it's fine. This is obviously my favorite album. What do you want?
I want to point out that whenever it comes to any other band, you always do a very fair shake at the beginning where people wonder, where's this going to go? What's Miranda going to say about it? Whenever there's House of Heroes or Relient, Kate always starts off with, I'm going to let you know this is the greatest album ever, but still stick around. Like, now they can just turn off and go listen to it and say, music doesn't get better than this.
Honestly. They should be listening to this album instead of watching this video. But if you want to hear, I guess, Brandon's ideas on the album, then stick around as we will be talking about what they did good on the album. You can start since mine is pretty.
All right. What I think that they were good at, or great at, is I wrote down so many great tunes. There's just so many songs like individually you can listen to and love. Like, I don't have to listen to the whole album to enjoy them. It's not really, you could correct me, but I don't really think that there's like a build up with the album. Like, it's not like this song sets up for this song or whatever.
If you don't listen to it well enough.
I think it's very very diverse. I a lot of times point to this album as an example of whenever you're a band like Relient K, you start off with like you're young and you have like all of these like songs for like younger kids, or you have like that young angst or whatever. Eventually you have to grow out of that, or you're just going to be that weirdo that's like 60 years old still singing to like teenagers, which is weird. And I think this is a good album to show how you can transition from that, because this is probably when you start seeing a mature Relient K. So I really give props to that, because it's a difficult thing for bands to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love it a lot, and it's one of my favorite albums. But I think that it is very diverse, but it's very sonically cohesive in the fact that like it's different genres, and like one song like If You Believe Me sounds like completely like Blink-182, and then like Candlelight is just completely different genre, but it all sounds the same because it was like recorded in a cabin, and because like I think just the feeling that he was feeling when he wrote the songs is behind every song. And so I don't know, I just think that like there's feeling on so many different levels of this album that it's never just a one-time listen through. But then again, like there's so many songs that you don't have to listen to it in order, and you don't have to listen to it in the context of the album. But then it like they're like great despite that. And then when you listen to it in the context of the album, like I mean, I personally have like overanalyzed this album, and so I know like the intricacies of the story that they're trying to tell, and even like I can see different kind of things that they're trying to tell with the story. And so it's not just one-sided, and it's not like you don't just get the meaning and then you get the story and then you're done. Like you can come up with different interpretations.
Gotcha. My biggest flaw with the album were the interludes. They're just really annoying. There's other albums such as Me Without You's Brother Sister, where they had like 4 interludes about spiders, but it was telling a story about a spider. Whereas these ones, like, I'm just like, do you really need that like minute of you singing what you just sung? Do you need a minute of like opening what you're about to do? Because when you take away now those interludes, I start looking and saying, oh, now you get like a 10-track album instead of like a 15. I forget what it was, but it kind of boils down to you just strip away a lot of the album and it's not as impressive. And I'm just someone that, like, I'm fine if you have that attached to the song, like if you have it going. But I guess whenever I see just it separately, I think that's weird. I wonder why it's separately.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest flaw with it. Do you have any flaws?
I do actually, but to counteract yours, because I have to defend. I mean, I just think that the interludes are really cool because, first of all, spoiler alert, part of it is like my favorite song ever, and I like that there's an interlude to my favorite song, or like, you know, an extension of it. But then I don't know, I just think that, like, when thinking about the story of the album, it seems more intense. Like when you consider the interludes, because, for example, the baby interlude after Savannah was the wedding song of the person he was going to marry and then didn't marry, and this album is about that.
That was probably my least favorite.
Yeah, well, the fact that it's like so, like, I don't know, it's just, you're like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable. It's like, I think that does really well because, you know, he was...
I gotcha.
That was going to be his wedding song. So, I don't know. I think that it adds to the story. And also, I just like more music.
So, to your bad, what did you see that you thought could have been improved, or you left you wondering, why was that on here?
Okay. I kind of maybe misspoke because nothing's wrong with the album. But the vinyl, the intro to Savannah is on the second side, like on the B side. And then Savannah is on the C, so like the second disc. So you have to change the whole thing to get to, and I hate that it intros something and it doesn't go, like you have to spend so much time getting to the next song, and that's the only thing I'll ever say bad about this album.
Favorite song for me, it was Sahara and Savannah, and I think those might have been the two like furthest away from the album, like as far as like styles or whatever, because Sahara's like arguably like the heaviest track, and I think Savannah might be just the most like fun and just like little track, that or Candlelight. But yeah, those are my two favorite songs, which again I think speaks to the diversity that I'm not just going after the one style they're doing multiple styles well on this album.
Before I like my favorite track now. Before I like really listened to the album, Sahara was my favorite because I was like, hardcore. And then, I mean, I listened to it more and like I got into the story more, and the lyrics more. But I've seen Sahara live, is what I'm trying to say. But my favorite song, obviously, is part of it. Like I just think like the lyrics are really good, and I like the like, not really stripped down, but just like very loud voice style of that song. That's very 90s punk feel, which is my favorite. Which also, this album, I also recently learned, I don't know what website it was on, but it was 36 pop punk albums you need to listen to before you die. So, I agree. List.
Final thoughts on it, I think that it's worth your listen to. I don't know if I've said it before on Brandanda reviews, but there's albums that I've gotten that are so good that I buy extra copies so that when I tell people how good it is, I can hand them a copy of the album. And I remember doing this whenever I would see it, like at flea markets, like for $1, I would go, yeah, I need that. And I would grab them. That way I could stockpile them and say, do you like, here, hand this. So this goes to show you that, you know, if you need a copy of it, I'll hit you up once I go to the flea market.
All right, I agree if I went to the flea market ever. Yeah, this is my favorite album. If somebody wants to, and I don't necessarily think like it's I mean, it could be like a defining album for them, but I don't really think that like, if I want you to get into Relient K, like, I'll give you this album and be like, oh, and just go for the rest. Like, I would probably give you like more, because I know a lot about Relient K and I could just like give you everything, but I think that just if you haven't ever heard it, I would give it to you to listen, because like no matter if you want to listen to Relient K or whatever kind of music taste you have, I just would be like, hey, you need to listen to this album. Even if you don't ask, unprompted, I will tell you. Listen to this album.
Right. Well, there you go. That's been a review of the album. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment and let us know, did we get it right? Is Miranda right? This is the greatest album perhaps ever created.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying it's a good album? Are we both wrong? And this is actually one of the worst Relient K or albums in general out there. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to Tank Media Network as well and check out all of our other super awesome videos.
Yeehaw.
So, as always, my name is Brandon.
I'm Miranda.
And this has been Brandanda Reviews.
Sing it.